Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of the Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the After... From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Intervention. Tonight's host is Michelle Macedo. Joining Michelle will be AfterBuzz co-hosts Melissa Macedo and Tamara Berg. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest intervention news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, Michelle Macedo!
Hey guys, what's up? Unfortunately, Melissa, my twinsy, won't be able to make it this week, but next week I will have an intervention with her.
Exactly. Make sure she's here with us.
So make sure that she's here. So it's me and Tammy, the very talented jewelry maker and, would you say, chef, baker? What would you call it?
Sure. I would say I'm a lifestyle expert.
Lifestyle expert.
A lot of things.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You should write a book too.
Oh, okay. I will. Have been. Working on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone buy my album, Flags and Boxes. So,
that's it.
Anyway.
And listen to Michelle on United Airlines.
Yes. Oh, Delta.
Sorry, excuse me.
It's totally
Beg
fine.
your pardon.
It's
Delta Airlines.
Delta. Or,
Or call United and tell them you want to hear it.
Exactly. Call United or go on United and see if it happens.
That's it. That's it.
So, okay, tonight's episode was about Brittany.
Brittany in Ohio.
Brittany in Ohio, which is something that we didn't know until the end. She did have an accent, but her main drug was heroin.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if she used other drugs. I mean, probably. But apparently, how often did she use it? How often did
she
it say?
She said up to 15 times a day. Yeah, shot up to 15 times a day.
That's ridiculous.
Can you imagine so just from a vanity issue, can you imagine how bad her arms look?
Oh, I know. Even seeing it was awful.
Michelle and I both have a little issue with needles. And so we were kind of watching through our fingers and closing our eyes and looking sideways at the screen because it's that's a harsh thing to do.
Yeah, I just always wonder what makes people want to start to do it or what makes them see it and be like, that looks good.
Yeah.
I
think it's always trying to escape pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some form or another, whether it's my life is so boring, my life is so painful, I'm so afraid.
Yeah.
This is the thing that will get me away from that. And I'm willing to do something that I might have found repellent at other times, or I might have sworn never to do.
Yeah.
Because that's how much I need to get away from the pain.
Yeah, obviously. And the pain just keeps on coming to Brittany. Basically, addiction is also a family thing. It can come from wherever. It can come from like genetics, or it can come from behavior, or it can come from
circumstances.
Yeah, circumstances. But we find out shortly after the beginning of this episode that her mom was also addicted to painkillers.
Started off with prescription drug abuse, yeah.
And that through their high school experience, Michelle and her sister Christy, she was most of the time
not present. Yeah. Not present physically sometimes and not present emotionally. And it was interesting. She was sober, Mom, Michelle, was sober as they were taping this show. But even then, she was still not really, still in denial about what I went home every night.
She was defending
after
herself.
Work. She says, I went home every night after work. Not always right after work. And then she said, my kids never felt abandoned. How would she know what her kids felt? Obviously, number one. And number two, yes, they did.
They're
clearly
here in a documentary about drug addiction saying how abandoned they felt. I mean, yeah, it's really she's in denial, in such deep denial, because she can't deal with the fact that she has. Oh, we have a phone call coming in.
Caller, you're on the line.
Hello. What's your name? Where are you from?
Who is this?
This is Michelle and Tammy. Who is this?
Hello, are you there?
Are you guys calling for the intervention
Hello?
show?
Yeah, hey, hello.
Who is this?
This is Michelle and Tammy. Who is this?
I might have got the wrong phone number.
Okay, I think you did. You're
think
on
you
a
did.
show right now, though.
Okay, but thanks. Talk to you later. Okay,
that guy needs an intervention.
That was odd.
as well.
That was odd.
Yeah.
So anyway, then I mean, this girl has had a world of hurt in her 22 years. It's just amazing the pain that she's gone through, and I feel just terrible for her. But the first thing that we come to is that she was allegedly abused by a neighbor, molested by a neighbor when she was a child. And it was kind of interesting to me hearing her tell the story of it, because she, on one hand, it was still really affecting her. And on the other hand, she was obviously numbing herself to such a degree that she was a little bit blasé about it. And I know you have to be in order to continue on a daily basis when you don't deal with those demons. But it was just really interesting to see that portrayed by her.
I think, she's a lot like her mom, which probably at the time she doesn't want to hear, because they just try and justify, and there's obviously that's an awful thing that happened. There are a lot of people, a lot more than we think or that we know that happens to. My sister's a rape crisis counselor, so I do wish that she was here to talk about it. But it happens so often, and obviously she felt like she wasn't supported, or that her mom, I don't know, just didn't care or knew.
And she had Brittany believed that her mother knew while it was happening and wasn't defending her. Her mom disputes that, but regardless of the facts of that, that's how Brittany felt, that her mom knew and then just totally washed her hands of it and went, sorry, kid, you're on your own. And so the fact that she, again, whether or not it was how it happened, the fact that she believed that made it, pain upon pain upon pain. And and such betrayal that she felt from her mom for not coming to her rescue.
Yeah. And both of them are so defensive and not open to listening, because both of them, the mom was like, she didn't feel abandoned, and Brittany was like,
she didn't care.
Yeah, she knew. She knew,
And she didn't do anything.
Yeah. And there was just like accusing and speaking for other people, because I guess they weren't ready to listen to what was actually going on.
Yeah.
They followed her a little bit on her daily regimen, which was very supported by everyone in her family.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They were really in the machine that she'd created.
Really enabling her. I mean, I know it must be super hard to keep her there or to just throw her out or whatever.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, there were some extraordinary measures that she was going through. A $500 a day habit.
That's insane.
And lived in a nice house, had the beautiful car, drove way better car than I did.
Yeah. That her boyfriend bought for her.
Right. Had all of her bills paid, and all she does all day long. What'd you do today, Brittany? Same thing I do every day. Drive the 2 hours.
Yeah. How is that? How does that happen every day? It just, I don't know if it was just like in front of the camera, they were just like trying to show it or something. They don't seem like those kind of people. But how does that happen every day? I guess it's if she obviously got really angry and really masochistic or whatever when she didn't take heroin for 3 hours. After 3 hours, she would freak out.
What an incredible burden that is to have on you at all times. And the fear that has to come with the minute you shoot up, you start to feel better. And then you have to start, and it's true with any addiction, then you have to start thinking about, what am I going to do to score the next time? What am I going to do? How am I going to make that happen? And
you're already thinking about the next time.
Oh my God.
because they get so sick and then they have to deal with it.
One of
She
the
does.
things that I found fascinating about her, and this was early on in the episode, when you're talking about how she was so angry and she was really just swearing up a storm and
Potty mouth.
just vicious with the things that she was saying. And on one hand, she was saying, "I have these 3 half sisters, kissing, loving them, hugging them, painting their toenails, just so attentive and wonderful with them," and said, "I would die for them."
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, which was probably half a day later in film time, she, "I don't care about anything. I could drive this car off the road and crash. I do not care at all."
Yeah. I noticed that too. That was the only time, like when she was with those younger sisters, that she seemed to care at all.
Yeah.
And then she said something like, "I hope that maybe they think that I'm like this great person or whatever." And that was just sad because she obviously feels like she needs someone to look at her without judgment, but she just also needs to face reality, which she does.
Yeah, and when I was seeing that, because knowing the show and knowing how it all goes the same way every time, you just never know what the outcome is. But I was thinking, well, that's one of the cards you play with her in the end. When she's resisting going, when she says she's not going to go, when she says she doesn't have a problem, those little girls are cards to play and say, "Listen, I will never let you see your sisters again," or
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you watch Celebrity Rehab. Do you?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Oh my God, love that show. That's what got me into like these shows, but obsessed. But Dr. Drew, the all-wise, all-knowing Dr. Drew, would say to this, I always think, what would Dr. Drew say? And a few seasons ago, I forget who it was, but he was asking like, what makes you stay alive? Like why are you here? Obviously, like the sisters sing. And he was like, well, I really need to do this for my sons. Like, I really need to do this for my kids.
Right.
And I love them so much. And like, I do anything for them. And Dr. Drew was like, except for get sober.
Right.
And he was like, no. They come first. And he was like, actually, the drugs come first.
Right.
And your kids come second.
Yep.
Because otherwise you wouldn't be in this mess.
Right.
And it's so true.
Right.
And it's just awful to think about, but it's true.
Yeah, but it's a choice, they have to make as they say in the program, every day, and every hour and every minute and sometimes every second. You have to make the choice. And again, the pain that these people are going through, because clearly that's what in her situation, she was all about feeling numb.
Yeah.
She wanted to feel numb. It's not even that she wanted to feel good and happy. She just wanted to feel numb.
Yeah,
she wanted that pain to
nothing.
go away. She wanted to avoid it. And, heroin did it for her.
Yeah. I don't know how it wasn't clear how she was introduced to it,
Yeah, they didn't say.
but her life in a matter of 2 years changed so dramatically. She was in high school. Then when she got out, she got into community college for criminal justice to put that guy behind bars, hopefully, or put guys like him behind bars, the sexual abuser. And of course, they asked him if it was true, and he denied it.
Shocking.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be like, "Oh, I remember that girl."
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, totally. Oh, and her sister, too.
Yeah.
So not going to say that, but she dated a police officer. She got pregnant.
Oh, fell head over heels in love.
Head over heels in love. Most in love ever. And now I feel like Clint, her next boyfriend, is just there to be there and pay for
He's
stuff.
a place marker. Yeah. He's
Which is sad because he's in like an abusive relationship. And I bet you at least $20 that his mother or his sister or someone in his life who he feels like he needs like approval and love from is wasting away with some sort of drug or some sort of addiction or something.
Or some sort of issue, yeah.
Yeah, so they just keep enabling each other.
That's the pattern.
Yeah.
It's the pattern.
Feels like he needs to take care of her or something. But she miscarries in her 7th month.
Can you? Oh,
No, I can't even imagine that.
I really can't.
I already just having a miscarriage must be awful in your 7th month.
Yeah, that's just because everything, you're smooth sailing by then. Everything's fine.
Exactly.
And she's in love and she was happy and couldn't wait to be a mother.
Yeah.
And
And then
it's all taken away like that, man.
all downhill.
Miscarries, and then he leaves her. And then she's got this terrible pain. She's going through physical pain as
Yeah.
well as the mental pain, and is prescribed Vicodin. But she's
that's
an
what it
incredible
was.
irony that she was. You couldn't be on the more straight and narrow.
Yeah.
But studying to be a police officer, dating a police officer, training and
Super
really
happy
making
to,
your
like,
whole
have a
life
kid.
about justice and having a child and
being
you
clean.
literally couldn't be, more kind of focused on the right path for her. And then it all changed, and it's so sad.
In a matter of like, I don't know, probably a few months or something from the miscarriage, they didn't say a lot about who she was dating, the police officer, but she did seem, maybe she's like glorifying it now because it's in the past, but she did seem like it was really, really awful. I thought they were going to say that he died or something.
I was too. That's exactly what I thought was.
I was like,
happening.
oh
He died
God,
in the
now
line
it's
of duty.
coming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something happened, but he just left on his own free will, which is awful.
Yeah.
And now she's like this. I was kind of thinking that maybe he would like be in her life to support her at all. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if she wasn't pregnant, would he be with her? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's just
And
scary.
the other thing is maybe he was not in it as much as she was. Maybe
Yeah,
he wasn't as
exactly.
in love with her as she was with him from the very start, and there was no way for us to tell that from this.
Yeah,
From
exactly.
this little bit, but
We only get. But she said that she took Vicodin 20 to 40 times a day.
holy cow,
It's a lot of pills. I can't even take vitamins 20 to 40 times a day. And it kind of sounds like, but that's a whole lot of pills.
And then you turned to me and said, "How do you support that kind of habit?" And I go, "Prostitution."
She did sing
'Cause it
that
always
wonderful song.
I did.
It's a good one.
Beautiful little
And
ditty,
she was
prostitution.
completely right. All it took was like 10 minutes. And first it was becoming a stripper.
Yep.
Then it was private dances.
A private dancer
At her house or her family's house, her sister's house with the baby.
That was incredibly awkward.
That was
the
awkward.
Roommate, her Danielle, was that her name? I think.
Yeah,
Danielle, with her baby, you go, "Hey, what's going on?" Looking over the, into the entryway. "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, I have a customer." That's what she called them, right? Customer.
Yeah.
"I have a customer coming in." And, it's like, when I was in retail, "Oh, I have a customer."
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she sounded
I know.
like she was saying. It's like,
Exactly.
no, you're going to go.
Like it
with
was
that guy.
nothing, and
Yeah.
and she was just like, okay, like anything could happen. These men could be dangerous. Now they know where she lives. Now they know all of these things about her. I guess she met them at the club or something.
Who knows?
Which is kind of sketchy that that's where she met her boyfriend now.
Yeah.
It seems like very like hot and cold.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that Clint's not in the picture anymore now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because she even said she's what did she say? "I consider him my boyfriend sometimes."
I know. He gave her an engagement ring. That I think it's her boyfriend.
Yeah.
I think that shows that that's her boyfriend.
That shows that he's in, and then she pawns it, which shows that she is not in the game the way he is.
Yeah, man, he has no boundaries. For him, he needs to walk away from that.
Absolutely.
But for her, now she knows she could do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll ever leave her unless she cuts it off.
Well, if she has any wits about her, she will. But if she doesn't have any feelings for him,
Yeah.
and she doesn't need him to support her anymore, I can't imagine that she would
Exactly.
continue having a relationship with him.
Yeah. So that totally makes sense. But why would he want to help her?
Yeah, he was an amazing amount of denial because he knew about the heroin. He knew about the customers. He knew that obviously he gave her money freely. He let her bleed him dry, and he went, but I love her.
I know.
Which just speaks to the point that you were making about he's repeating a pattern. That's been created in his life somewhere else.
I mean, not normal, but no person without those experiences would ever do that. That just doesn't make sense. She's just completely abusing him, taking advantage of him in every way. He had to get a second job like because of her.
Yeah.
He pays for the drugs. What, they went down to like Mexico or something? Where did they go?
I don't know. No, I think it was just another town.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're in
She
Ohio.
said-
That'd be a long trip.
Yeah. That's I don't. Yeah, they're in Ohio.
If they were in San
Long
Diego,
trip.
that's a different story.
Yeah. But yeah, they went down there. He paid for it because he doesn't like that she is a prostitute, basically.
Yeah, and she's obviously uncomfortable. Well, not uncomfortable, but in pain. Is terrible when she has withdrawals, and when like she goes off. They walk in the door. Christy's the sister is sitting on the couch. Clint walks in with her. Brittany goes, "I'm going to go upstairs for a minute," and they laugh. And go,
I know.
Okay. That sort of awkward, oh my God, what are we all talking about thing. She goes upstairs, comes back down, bounds down like the little teenager that she almost is. How you feeling, honey? Fantastic. I'm a new woman because I just shot up my heroin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just,
feeling good. And they're all like, okay, we know what just happened.
awesome.
I guess then we're going to continue on with the day. I don't know how with it she is at all. I don't know what's going on in her mind or what she sees or what's going on when she's on heroin.
Yeah, probably not much.
Never been on it.
Yeah.
I heard that it's the hardest drug to kick.
Yep.
Is word on the street or just like this drug people that went to my high school and told me that. And I don't know if I've my friend's cousin, she was a stripper. And one night we all went out and it was like me and my friend and then a bunch of strippers, and it was fun. And I was trying to figure it out. Because I was like, okay,
how's this all work?
Yeah. And like, okay, like I know you seem confident. Obviously you're not going to tell me your life story.
Right.
But there's something that's being like perpetuated here. And yes, like do whatever you want, like strip and be a sex worker and whatever. But almost always, obviously there's a story behind it that is really painful and all about sexuality. And like Brittany, she was being sexually abused for so long that she started just basically sexualizing herself, I guess, and
at a
took it to
very
the
young
extreme.
age.
Yeah,
because her mom talked about that.
Yeah, and that she got attention that way, and that's the message that goes out there is like be sexy because that's the ultimate thing to be for women, and it's just really sad she took it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Obviously prostituting herself, but it seems like she just like slid right into it.
Yeah.
That she was acting like she just woke up and got into it. And I was talking to those strippers and it seemed like they were just really blasé about everything. They were talking about how they're all like such good friends, and then like one girl had to like spend the night at another girl's house, and then the girl woke up and all of her stuff was missing. Like she had taken her like grandmother's diamond ring and all this stuff. So it's like very, we're gonna say that we trust each other, but really we do a lot of drugs together. Like really, I said, like, how do you do it? How do you stay awake? And all these, like, sketchy men come in, and what if they're, like, disgusting and being, like, pervy?
Right.
And they're like, I don't know, like, I'm drunk and on coke. Like, that's just the truth. I appreciated the truth because that's what I figured. That's the only way.
Right.
How could someone deal with that? And, like, a lot of porn stars, I read this book, and they're, like, all starting to write books or whatever. So they're getting their stories out there. Do you know Jenna Jameson?
Sure.
So I just heard through like all these guys and stuff and through the media, about how like, oh my God, she's like so hot, whatever. Okay. And then I was reading about her, and it's just insane to me how in high school, she was like gang raped behind the bleachers when she was like 15. Yeah. And her dad didn't do anything about it. And then she was like molested by all these people, once that boundary is crossed, then there is
Right.
no boundary.
Right.
So all that stuff happens, and I just wonder what makes people pretend that none of that stuff has like caused them to be this way.
Well, I think in a lot of cases, it happens when they're so young that their brains aren't developed enough. They don't have enough experience in life. They don't have good role models and mentors around them to help them through it. That it's impossible to figure it out at that age.
Yeah.
And so you just cope in whatever way that you can.
Yeah.
And it ends up being, inappropriate ways.
Yeah.
For in some way for almost everybody. Sometimes it comes up as addiction. Sometimes it comes, being inappropriate sexually with people, whatever it is, because you can't make sense of it any other way. And the only way to make sense of it is, whatever sort of survival mechanism that they can come up with.
Yeah. And like drugs.
Right.
Like Brittany over here.
Yep.
Good old
Yep.
friend Brittany. So,
At one point they were showing the kind of day-to-day life. Brittany sitting on the lounger with the, curled up in her jammies in a comforter, and Christy basically being her maid, taking care of her. And did you get whether Christy was older than she was, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And, she was the one taking care of her. She's literally, cleaning up after her. But was being very passive aggressive about it. Christy was,
Super passive aggressive.
I really hate it when people leave things in the dryer. I really hate cleaning up after you. I am tired. And again, had no knowledge or wherewithal to figure out how to deal with her feelings about this, because they were in this just vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was interesting later during the intervention, Christy had been such an important support person for Brittany, giving her a place to live, cleaning up after her, I would imagine helping her in other ways to support her habit.
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
it was, I don't know, making sure the dog was fed or the car had gas in it or whatever it was, so that Brittany could just keep doing what she was doing. And it's so tough because Christy clearly loved her and clearly didn't know how else to deal with it, but was resenting what she was having to do because she knew that she was supporting her sister's terrible, life-threatening habit.
Yeah. And it's which one is more painful, cutting her off or continuing?
Yeah, and that's always
it.
always the conundrum.
Yeah. It's
so
awful.
So then we get to the intervention.
Yes. Oh my God.
This guy, I have watched Intervention for years now, and in fact, I'll talk about it a little bit later. But I have a little inside skinny. But this guy, Rod Espudo, was the interventionist, and I'd never seen him before.
Yeah, I guess he's a new one.
Yeah, and I thought his tactic was really interesting. I liked that he took people, well, we saw two of them, Mom and Christy, be taken aside one-on-one so that he could talk with them about specific issues that needed to be addressed, because those two were clearly the heartstrings and the main people for
Do they
for
usually
Brittany.
not take them aside individually?
I haven't seen that happen before, no.
Oh, wow.
Usually it's a group thing. The interventionist coaches all of the family members and friends with their letter or their declaration that they're going to give to the loved one, and then they, that person just sort of mediates the whole situation and is a referee and, is an incredibly persuasive force.
Do they usually are the interventionist people? Do they usually? Are they usually people who were addicted to drugs?
Yes, always.
And who were sober? Okay.
Always.
That would make sense. Are they always addicted to the same?
No.
Drug?
No.
Sometimes it's different.
Yeah. But they're always former addicts because, that's where you get your credibility. Somebody who's never taken a drug can't go in there and go, you need to go to...
I know, exactly.
There's no credibility there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so he's coaching Mom, Michelle, and saying...
That was a breakthrough.
It was. she just I need to apologize. I need to make mistakes. And didn't you love what he said to her? He said, I think you need to keep tell her you're going to keep apologizing until Brittany tells you to stop.
That is amazing. I was like, yes, because that is an apology. You know, she's apologizing. It's like she's apologizing just to make herself feel less guilty. She's not actually asking for forgiveness.
Right.
Because that would be too painful.
Right.
And that was the breakthrough. He said that, loved it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Open up.
I thought that
a whole
was
new
just
world.
great. I thought that was great.
Yes. And I never thought of it like that. Yeah, he was a good one.
He really was. And then talking to Christy and said, okay, Christy, here's what you got to do.
Yeah. How did he know that? Does he just watch everything? And
I don't know. I mean, maybe Christy had revealed it before. I don't know. But that was another incredibly powerful moment because it connected Brittany and Christy in a way that, in the terrible way that they were now connected, and in a way that they had totally not acknowledged before. Christy had not acknowledged before.
Yeah, exactly. And with Christy, obviously, she has spent her life being the one that takes care of her. And so to take on that role, it's like, oh, well, she's the one. Brittany is the one.
Who's broken.
Yeah, exactly. With the problem, blah, blah, blah. Well, Brittany's just the one that is vocal about it and is doing things to herself on the outside. We've no idea what Christy is going through because she holds it all in and holds it together so that she can be like the older sister. And I'm
Be stable.
Yes, stable. I'm really glad that he said to her that she has to get her own life.
Yeah.
Because that's what she needs to do. She cannot spend any more time taking care of her sister.
Right. And enabling her to continue using drugs. The other thing that I thought was great about, I just forgot her name, Christy, coming to the table with that knowledge was she could actually then be, now granted she didn't have a 7-month pregnancy, miscarry, and her guy leave her, but they had the same childhood or similar childhood trauma, and so she could stand there and say, we had this thing happen to both of us.
Yeah.
You've chosen to use drugs and come close to killing yourself on a daily basis. And I have chosen another way to cope with it, which is, it appears, at least to me, to be a healthier.
Yeah.
She's not healthy, but it's healthier.
Yeah.
And so she could stand there as a possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
For Brittany to say, you don't have to have that life.
To take drugs. She just reacted differently.
Yeah.
They're just more positive ways to react, or ways that aren't so self-deprecating.
Yeah. Yeah. And self-defeating.
Yes. So during the intervention, first of all, she walks in, takes off her jacket. She's like, where's the food? I'm hungry. Where is it? Everyone laughs, and obviously she's expected to have everything handed to her all the time, even food. She's like, I'm hungry. Someone's going to give it to me.
Yep.
Like, obviously everyone had been enabling her.
Yeah.
I didn't know who that man was.
Her uncle.
Oh, that was her uncle.
Yeah.
Okay. And her aunt was there, who looked like Christy, the sister. Mom looked like Brittany. Really weird. But, yeah, so they were there. She started eating, whatever, during the whole time.
Didn't stop eating.
Not one. Didn't even, one time she, a little into it, she paused and she looked confused for a second, but then she kept eating. Yeah, exactly. Looked like some chicken nuggets or something. And then there was some sort of sandwich burger thing.
Yeah.
Some sort of soda thing. We're not sure exactly what it was, but it must have been really, really good.
Yeah.
To chomp all of it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how much of it she heard. I don't know what was going on through her head.
Well, I thought it was fascinating that she walked in the door, came into the room. Rod says to her, "Do you know what's going on here?" Because if if you've seen a minute of television in the last 5 years, you know that's an intervention.
Yeah, exactly.
She walks in and goes, "Nope, I have no idea." And then and there was no resistance. I was stunned at how little resistance she had.
Yes.
Because we'd seen her so angry. We'd seen her shooting up so many times. We'd
she
seen
wants
her,
to die.
wanting to die, needing to numb herself. She walks in, even when she figured out that it was an intervention, she's still kind of sitting there listening and eating.
She didn't say anything for the longest time.
And still needed to score, so she wasn't like super high at the moment because she was going, I'm not going to rehab until I get to score again.
Exactly.
But I was stunned at the fact that she didn't really resist at all. She didn't even ask any questions that we saw. I mean, maybe they cut them out.
But well, I mean, I feel like it would be important. The first thing that she say after that, everyone's staring at her for a reaction. She's just like, "Okay, I'll go, but only if I get to get some more dope."
Yeah.
It's just, it was like so casual.
It was amazing.
And she tries to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Okay, are you going to go to the bathroom?" Sends a friend. Everything is fine.
And then she came back. Again, I was expecting her to bolt.
Yeah.
And so it was
totally
Rod.
run. Yeah.
Because I've seen this show enough times to know that most of the, well, at least a lot of the times, the kid goes, "I need to go to the bathroom," and then they start running, and the camera crew and the sister run after, and there's the confrontation in the parking lot, and
I totally was expecting at least some sort of physical resistance and yelling and stuff.
Something.
Nothing. I don't know if anyone has brought it up. I don't know if anyone has seriously told her, like, you need to go to rehab or something, but I'm sure that must have happened.
You would think, especially because Mom was 46 days sober and had been through rehab a couple of times at least, I think they said. And so that was one of the things that we had talked about while we were watching, was how awkward is that Mom sober comes to visit Brittany, who's still using all the time, and how difficult must that be? They talk about how their bond is so strong and how that's not the normal parent-child relationship, and we love each other so much, and then this whole different dynamic comes in. I mean, it must have been awesome to be shooting up heroin together. They talked about that. How Brittany talked about how great it was.
I get to hang out with my mom,
and I don't have to worry about shooting up in front of her. And so I would think that it might have come up in conversation at those times when Mom was sober and Brittany wasn't, and you know, maybe rehab, but we didn't see it. So
I mean.
But then the kind of the last piece of the puzzle came out where Christy says, "I wasn't truthful. I was abused by our neighbor as well, and I am going to be truthful about that now, and I'm always going to be truthful about everything with you from here on out."
Yeah. And they've all just like given so much. It's amazing how horrible addicts can be, or how horrible their addiction just ruins their life until people are just gone. They just can't deal with it anymore. And she's lucky, that she got in at a time when it was still relatively new.
She was young. She'd only been doing it for a certain number of years. And because it definitely could have ruled her life like it does many people's lives for a really long time. Yeah. So then they make the agreement, which was just so odd. I'll go. Absolutely. Are you going to go? Absolutely. Like, she was excited to go.
She's like, okay, I'll go.
Under one condition, and it always comes to this point, under the condition. Usually the condition is I'll go in a week, which is bullcrap.
I have this thing to go to.
I need to tell my people at work, so I'll go tomorrow. And that you never can do it tomorrow. It's always right now. That's how it is on this show. Yeah. And her condition is, I need to shoot up one more time. And Rod goes to the aunt, "Auntie, are you cool with that? You can say you're not, sister, but let us know." And everybody kind of agrees. All right, I need $80. And Rod drives her to go score the heroin. Yes. And then she shoots up and puts her on the plane. I've seen it dozens of times on this show, though.
Do they
Literally,
do that?
They'll be in the van at the airport.
Oh my gosh.
Smoking the, crack or shooting up the heroin in the van just before they get on the airplane.
So obviously there are legal elements of the show that protect the addicts from getting in legal trouble.
What do you mean?
for having the drugs and having access to it.
Well, there
and
aren't
all
any
this
police
stuff.
officers on the staff.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, it could, but just the footage of that, wouldn't that, I mean, that could
I don't know about that.
get out. That's just like,
They don't show them buying drugs.
yeah, that's true.
They show them using them.
And then her going on
And
her
I think
way.
that's where I think that's where the line is.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah, and she says, "I'm ready to start a new life."
I know, like, what?
And this is the thing. I love this show because we were talking about this again. It's real. And you really don't know what is going to happen next.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if they're going to say yes. You don't know if once they say yes, they're actually going to get to rehab. And then you always get to see the 2 months later. And in this case, 1 month ago, she's as it turns out, we find out our last, update was 1 month ago, like a month and a week ago,
Yeah.
5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you never know how it'll go. You can be so confident in people, and then they relapse, or
Yeah.
they decide never to go to treatment, or I've seen one where the person died
In the next 2 months? Oh, my
before.
God.
Yeah, before they. I think I can't remember whether or not he went to rehab, but the postscript to the show, the last thing was, the date of his death.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that is a thing. And it's like, if you get attached to people, or you're like, oh, you could totally do it. You don't have to be doing this.
Yep.
Go to rehab. Like, take this chance. Everyone around you, all of your loved ones are hurting so much.
Yeah.
And then to just start using, and I mean, it's the power of addiction. I don't understand, and I hope I never understand. I know. It's so scary.
But then we see her, it was 2 months later at Betty Ford.
yeah. Oh, my God.
And she came on camera and we both went, and it happens almost every time. They look like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And she just clear-eyed and vibrant and
much healthier,
present and healthy and beautiful. And
yeah, she
so
wasn't like
encouraging.
this pale, weird color.
Vacant.
Yes, exactly. And just like this, in this weird place. Yeah, her eyes weren't like glazing over, and however she was before, looked so much better. Sitting by the lake, watching the birds, everything's good. Life is
good.
Is all better.
And she said, "I'm proud of myself."
I know.
And how fantastic is that? You couldn't have imagined that 6 months ago.
No way.
Looking at her.
No.
And that's what she needed. She needed some, belief in herself and some kind of foundation to build the rest of her life on.
Yeah. I just can't believe she had the willpower to want to do all of that. Since she said she wanted to die, the fact that she tried so hard to like get better is impressive. That's kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it wouldn't work out, but then they said she relapsed and then went back to rehab 8 weeks later.
I believe so.
Clint flew her back home, obviously. And
Of course.
And was that the last update, or did Clint
The last
fly her home
update was
the first time?
I think it was he flew her home the first time. And so then she went back into rehab, and she has now been like 40 days sober or something like that.
And
as of like a week ago.
And her mom has been sober for a while now, since what, like Thanksgiving?
November, they said, yeah.
Yeah, since November.
So 7 months.
So
8
now
months.
they can both be sober buddies,
Yay.
not high buddies.
Yeah.
And that can still be a bond without the I'm killing myself kind of bond.
Yeah.
So that's much better. I feel like it had like a happy ending, but like you said, we never know.
You never know.
Scary.
Another great thing that happens with this show is that occasionally they revisit. And they go, a year later, here's this story. And, 6 months later, here's this story. I know somebody who was in season
Is that
one
what is that?
of Intervention, and I will not name, obviously. But I know somebody who was in the first season of Intervention.
Is that how you started watching?
No, actually. I didn't see... I'm just going to say that it's a guy because it's just a little easier to know.
Yeah, the
So
pronouns.
I didn't see his episode until after I'd started watching the show Loved it. Got hooked into it really kind of early on. I had to step back because I was watching it a little too often. Because I would get so invested.
I know.
My heart would beat like crazy. I would get sweat. I would just be so concerned about these people because
they're real.
You do get absolutely invested in their story and their people and their relationships, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to watch. So I'd been watching the show and then met this guy, and I'd know he's in my circle of friends, but I hadn't met him, and I'd heard about him just as the person that he was, and then met him, and then went. I can't tell any more of the story because it will give away too many people. But
you asked him,
but then realized that he was a guy who'd been on intervention.
Did you say anything?
No.
Yeah.
No, but it's kind of riveting to watch somebody, and this is first season was, I don't know, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, something.
So you
like that, quite a
never
while
said
back.
anything. Was he sober?
I don't know. And it was a different kind of addiction. It wasn't a drug or substance addiction. But I'm not going to say any more again because it will.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think not entirely. Now, last time I saw him was about 6 months ago.
Wow.
So it's really interesting to have that knowledge of somebody and, kind of try and figure out how to navigate it and see them dealing with their demons. And I mean, everyone has issues. Everyone has challenges. And some of them are a little harder to kick, it appears.
Yeah. And some of them you can't, like... who played Kaneki in Grease? That man,
Jeff. Conaway.
Yes, and you know how he was in that one season of Celebrity Rehab, and did he die recently?
Yes, he did.
Okay, that's what I thought. And his addiction was so scary, and he had that like awful girlfriend who was just like bringing him alcohol and being a crazy person. And then he got out, and this past Halloween, I went to this event that my friend's family was catering. So I got to go to the VIP room just to eat the food, basically. And I saw him at the party. And he had a cup in his hand, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. And I still don't know. Plus, he like terrified me in the show because he was so...
erratic.
Yes. And like intense. So I didn't want to go up to him.
Yeah.
But he was with that girl.
Oh, gosh.
So I was like, oh, my God, I really hope it's not what I think it is. And it is.
Yeah. But I love intervention, really excited that they're back, and love that they do the revisits. And they, I think they might be doing it every season where they'll tell you a little something about some of the most interesting people that they've had on the show, and you get to see how they've progressed. So.
Have they revisited your friend?
It wasn't good.
Okay. So now you know.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Wasn't good.
So now you know like all about his life and his family.
Yeah.
Oof. How long ago was that?
That
they revisited him? Last season?
No. It was. I think if the first show was the first series was on, like I said, I think 6 years ago, and it was maybe 2 years after it that they revisited. So it's been quite a while. It's been quite a while, but yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Well, I think that we should probably go to commercial.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Hey guys, Tammy and I are back from the commercial break. Get ready to party. Straight edge, totally sober though. It's that kind of party.
Absolutely.
Board games, whatever.
Dancing and singing.
Exactly. So I think the next, we don't have any news and gossip.
I just gave my gossip.
Tammy just gave her gossip.
Somebody who was,
we had to get there. It was too exciting to hold in.
It was.
So let's get to predictions, which is hard. Because
we didn't see the
Your AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah.
We didn't see what's coming up next week.
Yeah, what was that they showed? Was that just another episode?
I think they were
starting?
doing an old episode. Yeah,
that was an old episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we never know. So predictions are hard. I guess we can predict what will happen to her and her mom.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually think her mom might have a harder road than she does.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, Brittany's young. And it's been a relatively short period of time that she's been in this pattern of drug addiction. But mom, for decades, it seems to me, has been in and out of drug addiction. So I think her mom might have a tougher road. But
yeah,
I think Brittany can actually have a really strong influence on her mother's sobriety and her mother's, kind of getting back on track. Because I think one of the things that probably Brittany's doing in her recovery is dealing with all the things that caused her the pain in the first place that ran her to drugs. Mm-hmm. And so once she can get those into place, she can heal her relationship with her mom and really be a positive force for her mom. So I think they can both make it, and I think Brittany's going to be the key.
Yeah.
That's my prediction there.
I totally agree.
Well, okay. There we have it.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for listening, and
can't wait to see what Intervention has for us next week.
Yes.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Very excited. Well, see you guys later.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.